Hello guys, welcome back to Avalon. So this is going to be our channeled monthly twin flame collective reading here today. Keep in mind that you can watch this reading for your own inner divine masculine and feminine energies. You don't necessarily have to watch it for another person in the physical, but for your own inner energies here in the internal. But let's see what the overall energy is in the collective right now for the twin flames. That was really fast. Thank you, Spirit. The overall energy is prayer. Prayer is a dialogue with the universe. Express your wishes. Okay, so there's this energy of praying for the other person here, most likely, or for a very deep soulmate or twin flame connection, if that's what you're seeking. But most of all, I'm getting this energy of the divine feminine here, being well ahead on her spiritual path, wanting to send out the right energies into the universe to attract the divine masculine in, or to help the divine masculine on his path or her path. I mean, obviously, you don't have to be a female to be a divine feminine, as well as you don't have to be a masculine to embody the divine masculine energy. So keep that in mind, but I'm going to just say his and hers now to keep the message understandable and easy to digest. So yeah, I'm getting that the divine feminine has really integrated most of her spiritual lessons and is now further ahead on her spiritual journey, manifesting the divine masculine in from a more balanced place here. She has reached a higher vibration and a higher frequency, so she's kind of in the perfect place here to manifest in whatever she desires. And that's going to help the divine masculine here to catch up with her, to follow her footsteps in a way on his spiritual journey, because the divine masculine feels in the energy that the divine feminine is giving him space and time to catch up energetically, but also emotionally is what I'm hearing. So this is a twin flame collective that is going through a major transformation still. This is most likely the end of a longer separation phase, where now the divine feminine is calling in the divine masculine. So it seems to be just a matter of time before both are reunited again. But let's see and dive a little deeper here into the energies, starting off with the divine masculine on the left side and then the divine feminine energy on the right side. So what is the energy of the divine masculines right now, Spirit? What is the divine masculine collective going through right now? One more, please. Thank you. Okay, we have releasing here for the divine masculines. Letting go, moving on, walking away. And we have bluff, pretending, mask, exaggeration. So we can take this quite literally here and say that the divine masculines are letting go of a facade that they have held on to for a very, very long time. This is a divine masculine energy that was very comfortable in pretending and in performing, in playing a role in their friend group, in all their social circles, wearing a mask of having everything in control and being very balanced, when behind that mask, behind that facade, there was a lot of emotional imbalance and a lot of hurt that has never really healed. And this divine masculine was hiding that very successfully here from almost all people in their life, except for the divine feminine, who could obviously, as a twin flame, look right through that mask. And it seems like when confronting the divine masculine about this mask, the divine feminine was met with a lot of manipulation, even gaslighting. The divine masculine here telling the divine feminine that what she's seeing is not true, is not accurate. She's making something up. She's fantasizing about something that is not actually the case. But meanwhile, deep down, the divine masculine very well knew that the divine feminine was right, and that there was a lot of emotional baggage that he was still carrying with himself, but didn't really want to look at. So even after being exposed for this bluff, for this masked life this divine masculine was living. The divine masculine couldn't bring himself to be real with themselves and be honest with themselves, is what I'm getting. Like, there was a part of them, their intuition was telling them, but also deep in their heart, they knew that the divine feminine was right about something, that they analyzed or understood something, felt something that was right, but they weren't able to admit it yet, not even to themselves, yet alone to their divine feminine. So they pushed the divine feminine away, pretending like it's not real, when really deep down they knew it was, but they weren't able to see that yet for themselves. They wanted to continue pretending because that's the comfort zone for the divine masculine, right? That's what they're used to. That's most likely what they've been doing their entire lives, is putting on this performance and playing a certain role in their friend group that has something to do also with status and prestige, right? Feeling like you can't break out of that system, out of that role that was kind of, that you were assigned to, or that you kind of settled in. And the divine feminine was kind of making the divine masculine aware of that game that they're playing, but it was completely against their will. They weren't spiritually advanced enough, is what I'm getting, to open up to that truth that the divine feminine was trying to share with them. And so they pushed her away and that inner truth away because it was easier at the time. But now the divine masculine is not in that energy anymore. They're very well aware of this mask, of this facade, and they're now more able to open up. So this is a separation phase that has been going on for at least a few months, if not a few years. And over this period of time, the divine masculine was able to fully open up to the truth that the divine feminine wanted to help them see all these months or years ago. But, they didn't have the spiritual knowledge. They weren't, spiritually advanced enough to see it, to accept it, to allow it in. But now they are. Usually in separation stage, both go their own ways, do their own inner healing, and work on themselves to be reunited at the end of the journey here, and talk things through, begin again, see if there's a chance to reconnect again and to reconcile the connection. And I see that most of that separation stage is over. You guys are already being redirected towards each other. However, the divine masculine still needs a little bit more time here, it seems, and it's all divine timing anyway, right? So you don't have to worry about anything, but they need a little bit more time to integrate their lessons and to completely let go and move on from this fake life that they have lived for decades, maybe their entire lives. It takes a lot of courage and a lot of bravery here to walk away from something established and comfortable that would be easy to continue, right? So I think even the divine feminine can relate to that in a sense of, I'm sure the divine feminine has had stuff that she had to walk away from on this journey as well that were comfortable for her, but that didn't really help advance herself or the connection. So mostly for divine feminines, speaking also, for myself here, it's this energy of being almost an emotional doormat for the divine masculine, being very kind and generous, caring and understanding, very compassionate, making excuses for them, and allowing themselves to be used for their kindness here, for their empathy. And this is most likely something that the divine feminine was very comfortable with. That's also a way that we as women get conditioned, right, from a very early age, which is something that is being mirrored back to us on this twin flame journey to work through. Why do we always feel like we have to do all the emotional care in a connection? Why do we always have to forgive and be the understanding one? And meanwhile, the divine masculine in this case can do whatever they want and get away with that? No, The divine feminine journey is most likely one of confidence, establishing proper boundaries, and not allowing the divine masculine to walk all over them, especially emotionally, where the divine feminine is putting up boundaries and saying, no, I'm not allowing you to treat me like that. And if you don't change, I'm moving on. I'm not going to wait for you. And that's most likely this initiation for the divine masculine to start look at themselves. Once they don't feel the energy of the divine feminine so strongly anymore, that's usually when they start to wake up and start reflecting and look at themselves and their behaviors and patterns, even coping mechanisms and unconscious patterns here. So I see this divine masculine being in a state of releasing here, quite literally with that card. They could also move apartments or move out from some sort of, apartment that they shared with friends, with colleagues. If they still live at home or with another partner, they could quite literally move out. But I see them really now being able to walk away from this fake identity that they have built for themselves. And it took them a few months and years to get to that point, but they have now reached a state of basically no return. So it's like it became increasingly more uncomfortable for them to stay in their comfort zone, because the Divine Feminine has confronted them with the fact that they're pretending like there's something that they're not. And the more that awareness kicked in over the past few weeks and months, the more the Divine Masculine has realized they can't go on like this. They're living a life they don't want to live. They're pretending to be someone that they're not. And now they seem ready to finally release that and move on from that. When in the past, maybe the Divine Feminine did a lot of praying and begging and explaining to them what's not working in their life, and they weren't able to be open to that. They shut her down or shut it off. They didn't want to see that. They actually ran from that. But now the Divine Masculine has stopped running and is slowly but surely returning to themselves and the true essence of who they are. And they now realize, well, the only person that ever really saw me, my soul, my heart, what I'm all about, who did not fall for that mask, was the Divine Feminine. So they're now trying to establish a new life for themselves, a new future, and really maybe the only person that they see being a part of that future is their Divine Feminine, who was able to look through them from the very beginning. So let's see what's going on for the Divine Feminine right now. Talk to me about the Divine Feminine collective here, Spirit. What can you tell me about their energy? Thank you. Okay, the first card here is influences, attachments, third parties, peers. And we have hoping, expecting, faith, manifesting. So this to me really lines up with this prayer card over here. Manifesting a reconciliation with your Divine Masculine, manifesting a new beginning in regard to your life, maybe as a whole, but also in regard to your relationships, and specifically your twin flame relationship here. There's a shadow aspect here for the Divine Feminine, in a sense that you, and I'm just going to read it as you here, you're still in a little bit of almost ego energy that sometimes intervenes with your intuition and your higher spiritual side here, almost, where there's still a little bit of holding on to past interferences here in the connection. I'm getting this energy that most likely the Divine Masculine, whilst being unhealed and not spiritually advanced enough on the journey, tried to cope with the intensity of the connection through distracting themselves, focusing mostly on their friend group here, or quite literally introducing another person, a third party energy of any kind, into the connection. And that seems to be very difficult for the Divine Feminine to deal with. I'm not getting that this third party energy is still present right now. So the energy that Spirit is giving me here is that both of you are single. The Divine Masculine is not in a relationship and you aren't either. But the shadow of that energy that was present in the past is still in the mix here. And I feel like the Divine Feminine is still focused on that and how that third party was being introduced and how she felt. Maybe you quite literally saw that third party in action. Maybe you were even introduced to them. So there's still some hurt and pain that needs to be worked through here as you're manifesting your Divine Masculine back in. There's still a little bit of hurt that you haven't completely healed from. And there's also still a little bit of anxiety, maybe, that your Divine Masculine is attached to a person still, or to their peers, to a point where they're not ready to open up yet. They're not ready to reconcile the connection yet. There could have been so many influences on the Divine Masculine side that you became aware of, Divine Feminine, that now you have trouble hoping that the Divine Masculine has really worked through and released a lot of those connections here, or those influences. But Spirit is really telling you that this is an energy that you can work with here. This is an energy that you can work through. If you want to manifest a new beginning with your divine masculine. Don't be so focused on what they still have to do and whether or not they have worked through their issues and through their baggage. That is theirs to carry. That's not yours. You focus on your baggage. And if you become a little bit more emotionally sensitive, realizing you're still scared that some sort of third party energy is still present in your divine masculine's life, that's something for you to look at and to reflect upon here. This is like the last bits and pieces of some emotional, energetical residue from the past that you need to completely detach and let go from. Release, so to speak, just like the divine masculine. So I feel like they are releasing their old life, their old personality, and you have to release the past that you had with the divine masculine. And I know that that can be very difficult, because how can you manifest a new beginning and the mending of the connection if all the experiences or most of the experiences that you've had with your divine masculine have been very negative and involved other people? If all that you know is your person being attached to outside influences, introducing third parties into the dynamic, how can you now connect to that hope and to that positive mindset and outlook that they have completely let that go, right? So there seems to be a little bit of a contradicting energy here, some energetic friction that you still need to work through. But with that hoping energy, you have all the power within you. You are spiritually advanced enough. You have leveled up enough over the past few months and years to work with that energy and completely let that go. So what you can trust in, divine feminine, is really that if you have put the work in, it's most likely your divine masculine has too. So if you look back on your own journey over the past few months or years, and you don't even recognize yourself anymore, you might look back on some interactions with your divine masculine 6 months ago and you don't even realize that that was you. You know, you would completely deal with the situation in a different way now. That shows you how much you have grown and how much you have changed and how much you have spiritually evolved here. And so if you have been on that journey, becoming more of who you are, reconnecting with yourself, you can be certain that the divine masculine is on his way as well, because you guys are mirrors, right? You guys are mirrors. So if one person starts going within and doing the work, energetically removing herself in this sense from the connection, the other party, in this case the divine masculine, feels that energetically and starts to question themselves a little more, starts to question the connection, starts to go within and put some work in as well. And so over time, you guys are both starting to heal. You guys are both starting to work through your issues. So you don't have to worry about any third-party influences, because if you have worked on your attachments that negatively influenced this twin flame dynamic, you can be certain that your divine masculine has as well. Maybe you had people in your ear too, divine feminine, who told you this is a bad guy, like, why do you want to be with him? He's not treating you right. Like, this is all unfair. You should just let go of him. You should forget him. And maybe that kind of got a hold of you also for a while here. But if you have worked through that, released those sayings or people who talked like that, the divine masculine has done the same on his side. So remember that mirroring energy, right? Remember that as long as you put the work in, you focus on you and get your energy straight, so to speak, your divine masculine is doing the same thing. He cannot help but do the same thing, because you are twin flames. You are triggering each other, but you're also catapulting each other on a new path. And if you're on that path, your counterpart is too. So let's clarify this message with some tarot here, starting with the divine masculine. Spirit. Ooh, that's a lot actually. I'm going to take this. What do we have here? Okay. First card out is the High Priestess for the divine masculine here, followed up by the Six of Pentacles. Can you give me one more, Spirit? One more, please. What is the energy of the divine masculine? Thank you. The third card is the Judgment card. Wow. Look at all the blue here on these three tarot cards. This This is connected to your divine masculine's throat chakra. So if they're breaking out of an old cycle of pretending to be someone that they're not, they might be in a stage right now where they have to vocalize that more, where they have to say no more often and put up boundaries and explain maybe to their friends why they're not going to do certain things anymore, or why they're not open to certain experiences anymore. I feel like the divine masculine is doing a lot of explaining and a lot of walking away from people who don't understand what he's trying to express. But the throat chakra is opening here for your divine masculine so that he can become more comfortable in actually communicating what it is that he's feeling and that he's intuitively sensing here within. In the past, I feel like this was blocked for your divine masculine, meaning they were kind of emotionally detached, trying to explain the connection to you away in a very logical sense, in a very rational sense, trying to completely push their emotions away. They're not doing that anymore. You have the card of the High Priestess here for your divine masculine. So this is an energy of being spiritually advanced, but also reconnecting to your inner wisdom, making the choice to go within. She has her eyes closed on this card, right? So there's this energy of going within and inwardly balancing here with the Six of Pentacles their emotions, their emotional truths. There's a lot of growth that your divine masculine has had when it comes to their inner emotional wisdom and reconnecting with their emotions. They completely blocked their feelings off, hiding everything behind their mask, pretending like everything is okay and they don't feel anything for you and they're happy with their lives and yada yada yada, but in truth, they have gone within over the last few weeks and months. Could be about 2 years, 2 months, or about half a year here is what I'm getting. But they have inwardly balanced their energies. And the moment that they started to reconnect to their inner truth, almost to their feelings, they felt a lot of pain and hurt resurface for them. But instead of blocking that away again, running from that, they started to look at that because they have ran from it before and it only led to a life of pretending, to a life of faking, to a life of hiding behind something that is not actually truth. They know that pretending and masking themselves and their emotions is not working anymore. It doesn't feel good anymore. They have spiritually grown to a point where they cannot reconnect with their own ways of living and pushing their emotional truths away. So now they open up to that more and more, and this person has completely awakened to their emotions here, to their emotional wisdom is what I'm getting. And that is balancing the energies here. And you might feel that on your side, Divine Feminine, that things have kind of calmed down in the energetic field. Things have become almost neutral here. There's not this toxic push and pull runner chaser energy anymore. You guys have grown past that, which is why I'm saying the separation period is slowly but surely coming to an end. Like I would say like 85% of that is done, because the energies are balancing here for the divine masculine, because you have already done your inner spiritual balancing yourself. And so now you guys are realigning with each other. So ultimately there's going to be reconciliation at the end of that. But for your divine masculine, it's reconnecting to their emotional truth and being honest with themselves, no longer running from the fact that their pretentious life does not give them anything anymore. It's just hollow. They entertain shallow connections. They have people in their ear, or had people in their ear, who didn't actually mean well. They weren't actually on their side. The divine masculine is seeing a lot of their friends, or the people that they called friends, as what they truly are, which is energy vampires. People who wanted to use your divine masculine, who wanted him to accompany them on certain situations. They dragged almost your divine masculine along here, using your divine masculine, feeding off of his energy. Your divine masculine is realizing that they could never be themselves with their friends. They were never allowed to be themselves. They were never allowed to emotionally be truthful with their friends. So can they even be called friends? Should your divine masculine really keep in touch with those people that did not allow him to be truthful to who he truly is, your divine masculine is rather alone than with these people. They're at this point of no return where they're basically telling themselves, I'd rather have no company than bad company. I don't care about these people anymore and their well-being because they never cared about me and my well-being. So what the heck am I doing here with these people? Why am I prioritizing them over my own well-being and over my divine feminine here, who's really the only one who was ever on my side? So there's a lot of breakthroughs that your divine masculine is having here. So right now we're still in the energy of the snake, right? Up until February the 17th of 2026, if you're watching this in 2026 as I'm recording that, that is going to be the day where we move out of this energy of the snake into the energy of the fire horse. So I see your divine masculine wrapping up their old life in a way. And up until about February the 17th or the 20th, your divine masculine will have walked away from these people, the circumstances, and this old lifestyle that doesn't fit them anymore, following their emotions, listening to their feelings and their intuition, going within and letting that guide him, allowing that to stir him into the right direction, onto the new path. They're shedding an old version of themselves. They're spiritually elevating themselves. So I would say expect some energy shift here in the twin flame dynamic, specifically in February and March of 2026. I think the energy is going to gain a lot of momentum around that time. But let's see what's going on for you, divine feminine. Spirit, what can you tell me about the divine feminine? Thank you. Okay, what do we have here? The first card is the Four of Cups. Followed by the Four of Pentacles. So the number 4 could be very significant. Maybe you have been in separation from your divine masculine here for 4 months or 4 years. And we have the 10 of Wands. Wow, so also major releasing energy here on your side, maybe releasing the last bits of this residue that I was talking about earlier here, this worry or anxiety that there's still some people in your divine masculine's ear. They're not listening to that anymore, but don't worry about them. They're very well on their journey. Let them do what they have to do. You're on your own journey here. Don't focus on them, focus on you. But there's this energy of sitting by yourself, maybe being very focused on those influences from the past. And Spirit is telling you that this is holding you back. You want to call in a new beginning with your divine masculine whilst holding on to everything or maybe a little bit of the things that did not work in the past. But you cannot manifest a fresh energy in if you still focus on the energy of the past and what this connection was in the past. So how can you detach from those energies? You are kind of holding a lot of things in here. You're spending a lot of time by yourself, it seems, really sitting with yourself, maybe meditating. That's a good thing. How can you, in that meditative state, learn to let go of the attachments of the past? The worry that you have that maybe in the future the past will repeat. It cannot repeat because, again, you have grown and changed and healed. Your person can't help but do the same. That's the dynamic of twin flames, right? Once a person steps up and changes something, the other person cannot help but follow. You're almost there, but you're holding on to a little bit of energy from the past and from the things that didn't work out, and that's stopping your manifestation to completely come in here. You have to, with the 10 of Wands, let go of that burden. Let go of that baggage from the past. Don't take it with you. If you think that the past is going to repeat and you're in manifestation mode, then the past is going to repeat. But if you want to manifest a new beginning, a new start with your divine masculine, you have to change your vibration and frequency to attract that new energy in. You cannot stay in the old energy. So if you find yourself worrying, in doubt over, has your divine masculine really changed? Pay attention to that. Pay attention when that worry, when that fear comes up. Oh, I guess there's still people in his ear that are telling him what to do. Or, oh, he's never going to come back around because he's attached to some toxic people here. If you think that, that's what you're going to manifest. Learn to watch your thoughts and pay attention to how these thoughts make you feel. And if it feels very negative, become very, very sensitive to that. Observe that and try to find the next better feeling thought out of that energy. So if you catch yourself in a moment of, thinking something along the lines of, oh, my divine masculine is never going to change because he is surrounded by the wrong people, recognize that thought, recognize that it does not feel good, and then from that position, try to change it and make it into something positive. That's how slowly but surely you're going to change your frequency and raise it even further so that you can allow this manifestation to come in. So instead of, thinking thoughts like that, catch yourself when you think those thoughts and try to make them into something positive, something like, well, actually, my divine masculine has most likely changed because I am different now. And since we are twin flames and we kind of play off of each other energetically, my divine masculine cannot help but also start reflecting himself because I have started reflecting. And he is also changing because I have changed. And so if he has changed and shifted the way I have, these toxic people are most likely not having the influence anymore that they had in the past because he has changed just as much as me. And if I have moved on from certain people that talked shit about the connection and didn't understand it, I can be certain that my divine masculine has done the same. If I have healed from past emotional wounds from my childhood or my youth, I can be certain that my divine masculine has done that too. So if I'm a completely different person, he is a complete different person. So we are both realigning energetically here with each other. So really there's nothing to worry about. Maybe it would be a good idea to write down positive affirmations. And whenever you find yourself in the state of being worried or unsure about the entire situation here, read through those affirmations, speak them out loud, look at yourself in the mirror and speak them. I am safe in the unknown. I trust that my twin flame is exactly where he needs to be. I trust that I am exactly where I need to be on this journey. I trust that we will be reunited when the timing is right, Come up with some positive twin flame affirmations here. So whenever you feel kind of down and out, which is kind of stopping your manifestation from coming in, read those positive affirmations and over time, your vibration will rise and those negative energy here is going to completely be released. You can do this. This has been such a long and complex journey, and this is the last little thing I almost feel that you have to work through on your side. But with prayer and hope, you're already on the way, right? But don't allow those negative thoughts to get you here. Don't allow those negative thoughts to influence you and stop your manifestation. You have told the universe what you want. You want to reconcile with your divine masculine once he's as healed as you are. You have told the universe that you want to mend the connection. So you have put the intention out. Now it's your job to not stand in the way of that desire to come in. But if you have some sort of negative outlook here, you're stopping the manifestation and the desire to come in. So you have to work with that a little bit over here. But other than that, I see overall a separation period coming to an end. So I'm going to draw you the last advice card here. What is this? Okay, we have 0909. This could be a number that you see a lot, and 9 is actually a number of completion, right? 2025 was a year 9. We're now moving into a year 1. So quite literally it says new beginnings here. Opportunity, courage, achievement, endings, new beginnings, adventure, love. Keep an eye out for an opportunity that could change everything. You are completing something significant, and it's rewarding to see yourself level up. It's time to close an old chapter and embrace the new adventure that's about to unfold. See, you're very well on your way. You don't have to worry about anything. Don't worry about the past repeating, because it can't. You guys are now both too spiritually advanced. You are integrating your lessons. The separation is about to come to an end here. Don't hold yourself up. Don't block this energy that wants to build up here to reunite you with your divine masculine, to become stagnant or to stay stuck because of you holding on to a past version of them. You have changed and your person has changed. You can trust that. Remind yourself of that. Keep the energy and the vibration as high as you can, and trust that a new beginning is very well on its way. All right. That's all that I have for you here today. I hope this was helpful. Thank you so much for watching, and see you next time.